We all know that physical health is important and is something we need to look after so that we can stay fit and well. With mental health, it's the same. We all need to take care of our mind so that we can think and feel the way we want to and have a more enjoyable future. Mental health is about looking after our thoughts, feelings, and emotions so that we are well enough to cope with everyday life and feel content with our relationships, our abilities, and our potential. It can seem more difficult to look after our mental health than our physical health. And some people think you can never feel better if you have a mental health problem. But that's not true. If you have a physical health problem, like an injury or illness, it's possible to get better and feel well again. And it's the same with mental health. You just need to talk to the right people and ask for help. Sometimes the stresses of life can affect our mental health, and we don't feel we can contribute at work or in our community the way we want to. It's okay. Everyone can have a bad day or feel bad for much longer periods of time. There are lots of things about life and work that can affect our mental health. You may feel unwell because of stress at work, or maybe you're feeling low after losing someone you love. A traumatic event, a physical injury, or taking drugs can also affect your mental health. You might feel anxious or low, or just want to hide away. If you're having a bad day, Able Futures could help you get support to deal with the mental health problems that you're struggling with. We'll give you time with a mental health expert who will listen to what you're feeling and thinking, give you advice and information, and help you do what you need to do to feel better, so that you can have more good days. We can help you, your employees, or your apprentices understand and manage their mental health at work for a more dependable future, with no charge to you. Call us Monday to Friday on 0800 321 3137 between 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. or visit our website able-futures.co.uk.
If you're a business owner,
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining me this morning on Empowered by DNA Dialogue, Networking, Aspire. And so truly, I am blessed to be here. You're blessed to be here. And I'm glad to have you all here with me. If you bear with me for a minute, and for those who watch Podbean, I'm going to download it a little later today. I've done something wrong here. Maybe I can get my husband to come back here and help me. I've done something wrong with this system. Bear with me 1 second, please. Thank you. All right. Give me one more quick second. I know you say, Nikki, you are always doing something. But I want to make sure that I share it to all the right places this morning. And so I want to make sure I get it on Empower by Nikki as well. All right. So we are ready to go this morning. And as I said earlier, I can see your comments is what I'm going for this morning. There we go. I can see the chat so we can talk. And if I can ask a favor to just get my glasses, and we're ready to roll. All right. So thank you again for joining. And so we're talking about mental health. And I know it was last month, which technically was a day ago. So I do thank you for joining me this morning as we begin a month still talking about mental health. And so in talking about mental health, I know you saying, what does that have to do with empowerment? But it has a lot to do with empowering you. Listen, this mind is a very important thing, because We utilize it daily. We depend on it, right? If our mind or our thought process is in a negative mood, it kind of affects our day. If we're positive, it affects our day. How we think about ourselves affects our ability to, achieve some things, to be successful in some things. I don't care how successful a person is, or how perfect you may think they are, or how they may appear to have it all together. Trust me, we all battle with our mind, with our thoughts. Whether it is you get up in the morning and just say, "Ugh, this is just not going to be a good day. I don't feel well. I don't feel like I look good. I don't feel like I'm as smart as everybody else." Or maybe someone has said something to you negative and it's affected your self-esteem. All of these things are important, that we take care of ourselves. That's why last week I talked about self-care. I've talked about, goals and how we meet those goals. And all of these things are important when you're trying to achieve something, you're aspiring to do something, you're inspired to do something, whether it's building a business, whether it's reaching out, outreach. Maybe what you've been given to do, you need to go back to school for. All of these things require us to be healthy, not only emotionally, but mentally. And so that is the reason why I wanted to come on for just a minute and talk about the mental health. I know that for me growing up, I'm glad that we're in a time period where there really are no things that we can't talk about, that we can't discuss. I'm glad that we're in a time period where there are no, like, shh, don't say that, or what happens in the house stays in the house. I'm glad that we are finally at a point in time where mental health is a conversation, and not only at church, but at work, in your family, hopefully, that we're identifying signs. Sometimes I look back and can see where maybe I was screaming for help and nobody noticed it, because I've come from a time period where you kind of mask these things, right? You appear you have it all together. In social media, we have to be careful, because that is also can get us in a trap, right? Everybody on social media, we're always doing well, all is well, nothing's ever wrong. And so I just want to say that it's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay if you have a counselor. I've said that before. It's okay if if you go to a psychiatrist. It's okay if you have to take medication to balance your chemistry in your body. It's okay to get what you need to be healthy, because you can't be the mother, you can't be the daughter, you can't be the friend, you can't be the niece, the cousin, the sister that you need to be if you are not well mentally, or emotionally. And I think they go together. I think when you're not well mentally, your emotions are off. When you're not well emotionally, that can also, I'm sure, have something to do with your mental state. And it's always disclosed, I am not a counselor. I am not a psychiatrist. So I don't offer counseling, but I do implore you, plead with you, if you need that help, get it. Okay. I'll share pointers from time to time that I've learned in my own battle and struggle daily with this mind. All right. I struggle with it on a daily basis. Constantly trying to be a better me. And so, what I've learned in order to be a better me or a happier me is to take care of me, whether that is to walk a little bit more, or whether that is to hang out with my friends because it's what I want to do. Whatever it is, we talked about that self care. Take it, whatever day that is. Take you a day. Call it mental health day. And that's what it really is, a day for you to step away and just deal with you. Sometimes people can tell you look good and I love this about you and love that about you. But if you are not okay with yourself within, then it doesn't really matter how many times somebody tells you that you're beautiful. You appreciate it. And we should never stop encouraging or giving great compliments to our fellow sister, but also recognize that sometimes a person needs more than that. And also, something that I know for a fact in church, which is why I'm glad to see that in church, in ministry, in the body of Christ, we are talking mental health more, because it's not something that can always be prayed away. And I say that lightly, because I am a believer and I do believe that God can heal, he can deliver. But where we box God in is how we feel he should heal somebody. Okay. If somebody is going through depression, and you're like me and I'm not a counselor, not by license. So I need to acknowledge that the person does have a problem that may be bigger than I can help with, and advise them to go seek counseling. And there's nothing wrong with it. Don't shame a person. Please don't shame a person because they need to speak with someone, but encourage them. Go with them if they ask you to. But I think that is what we can do for one another, is to support each other and encourage each other to get the help that we need. Mental health is very real. And I know that it seems that we talk about it more than we ever have before, which I think is amazing. But when you think about people that are committing suicide, that are hurting others, hurt people hurt people. All of it starts here. It starts right here. And so we want to take care of this. And so, I don't believe in selfishness when it comes to you taking care of yourself. Because if you're not well, I say it again, you're not much good for anybody else. So you really do want to um take care of you, take care of yourself. And then for those of us who may be on the outside looking in, be mindful. Don't ever be so critical of others' mental health state. Don't tell them, oh, just pray about it. You'll be okay. It's in your mind. It's in your mind. It's in your mind. Well, do something about it, because until you're walking that path, until you're there, and it can be a lonely place, especially if you battle depression or you battle some other mental illnesses that are out there. That person can be feeling very alone. And so for you to criticize them or to make them feel less than in an already very sensitive state is not helpful at all. So I believe as a body, as a people, as women especially, we need to be there for one another. I have lots of folks, and I do appreciate them, that check on me from time to time, and they're very simple. It may be a simple text, because they know I'm kind of a text type person, and they'll text me and say, hey, how you doing? Just checking in. Everything okay? And some days it's great, it's awesome. Other days maybe I'm yet holding on. But we all have battles. And so I just wanted to take a moment to hopefully not just be babbling, because hopefully somebody is being blessed by this conversation of mental health. But we've got to take care of ourselves. And so if you're one that has lost a loved one, I find that that's a state that a lot of people struggle with getting help. I do believe in grief counseling, and I believe that it's necessary, and I believe that you need it, especially if you've had to say goodbye to a loved one, right? Because there are days that you may feel like you got it all together and nothing's bothering you and everything is okay. And then there are other days where you're going to miss that person more than you've ever missed them before, or it's that moment that you realize that they're gone and you can't call them, you can't hear their voice, you can't speak to them. And so how do you deal with that? And so I believe that grief counseling helps. I've talked to people about it before, and they may say things like, oh, well, I can't because I can't stop crying. Well, there's nothing wrong with crying. And I think that we have um, yoked people or bound them up into thinking that they have to hold their emotions in altogether and they can't cry when they really feel like it. Listen, if I feel like crying, I'm going to cry. Because I find that it's cleansing, it helps, it makes me feel better. And then I can wipe my eyes and gain clarity of whatever it is that's brought me to this point. Whether you've lost a parent, and I'll be very transparent right now. Like I lost my dad, and it's been, years now. And sometimes people think because someone hasn't been around for years that you've just forgotten them or that you've just moved on or you're okay now. But there are still times and moments that I miss my dad because of a relationship that we had. So when I forget for that moment that I can't pick up the phone and call him, then I have to take a moment and deal with that. And so that's the reason I touch grief counseling for just a minute, because a lot of people, we lose family members, we lose our loved ones. And then of course, when it first happens, people are all there, right? Everybody's there for you. And I always say that. I say, when initially when something is happening, you have more help than you need, right? From the moment of the passing until maybe the next week, and then all of a sudden there's no one there. There's nobody really necessarily checking on you as much. Those thousands and hundreds or many people that were checking in on you are now gone about their business. We're about our day. We've moved on to the next thing in our lives. All the while we've left that person there to still be in grief, still grieve, still deal with their loss. And so, I would just, and I'm trying to be better at it myself. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to uh, get a little stronger with checking in on people, seeing about people, and not forgetting that, it may have been months ago, it may have been a year ago, it could have been 5 years ago. That person is still dealing with that. And so we should continue to pray for them, and we should continue to be there for them. And every now and again, you don't have to like call people every minute of the day, but you can stop sometimes and say, hey, I just wanted to call and check on you, just wanted to see how you're doing. Just wanted to, make sure you're okay. Or, hey, what about lunch? Have you had lunch or have you had dinner? Because some people don't like to be overly crowded. They don't want you to, I'm probably one of those persons that don't want to necessarily be um, checked on every day. But you do want to at least let them know that you're there. And then when you can, just hug them. And if they cry, you don't have to say anything. I was watching a video on Facebook, as a matter of fact. They were talking about grief and the things, and I've seen it in writing as well. Things that we say, we think we're helping, but we've actually said something that is hurtful or caused that person to go into a dark place or a black hole. Um, Sometimes what I've learned is that sometimes it's okay to say nothing. It's okay to just be there. I often tell my friends, like, if you just want to call me, and even anybody I talk to, I'll say, like, if you need somebody to talk to and you don't want me to say anything, just call and say, listen, I just need you to listen. I need to get this off my chest. And then, you can hang up, and I'm good with that. I'm okay. I understand that you just needed a sounding board. You didn't need my advice. You didn't need me to say anything. You just needed me to be there. And so I think that when we talk about mental health, not necessarily is it always, the awareness is not necessarily always for the person going through that mental health moment, but it's also for those of us who are supporting that person. And I've learned from experience that it's sometimes there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do about it. You can't love it away, you can't hug it away, you can't shake it away. That person has to go through their moment. Sometimes you can just hug them and love them from where you are, and pray for them. that they'll get through it. Just make sure that they're not in a state to harm themselves and that they are, in fact, getting counseling and getting the things that they need. And so if they're in that moment, sometimes we just have to be in our moment, and it'll pass, as long as we have the support that we need. And so I know this wasn't one of my more empowering moments, so you may think, but I actually think it is one of the most empowering moments, because if you are one that is feeling depression, and depression has many signs and symptoms, but if you are one that is in fact going through a form of depression or any type of mental illness, or if you're a person that is watching somebody go through it, just know the signs. Know the signs. Are they quiet? Are they kind of hidden away? Are they not saying much? Are they not want to be a part of the group anymore? Do you know the person well enough to know that they are going through something? Have they lost someone recently? Because that's normally, for some people, when they've lost someone, if it's around their the birthday. I know my dad's birthday, Father's Day is coming around the corner. All of those times for me can become a bit emotional. So I try to um think on other things, but then I also find that thinking about that person that I lost is not a bad thing either. To just remember the good times that we had, and that if I cry, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to have a moment. It's okay to need to vent. It's okay to want to talk to somebody. It's okay. And I think that sometimes we need to understand that it's okay. There is nothing, there's nobody else out here that's doing, honestly, that's living a perfect life. Okay. I know, let's bring social media to reality for a minute, right? That if you take away the filters, if you take away the props and things that people use, everybody's not okay all the time. We all have struggles. We all have issues. I think, as women, we deal with self-esteem. I know people, I'll look at them and say, God, you're so gorgeous. You just look amazing, but when you really look at the person, sometimes people look back at you like, really? Because that's not how I feel. And so never take for granted that somebody is always in a good place just because they look like they're in a good place, because we all wear masks. So in closing this morning, I do want to say to you, to please talk to somebody. I think we all should be talking to somebody. Whether you feel like you have mental health situations or not. I read something years ago, and actually I think it was while I was in school. It was in my psychology class, and it was saying that everybody deals with depression in one form or another. Um, all of us have a moment. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if the sun goes down right now and we had to sit in a cloudy day for like several days, I don't know about you, but about day two, I'm like, you kind of start feeling dreary, you start feeling bad. And so it definitely, um I don't want anybody to feel like you're alone in this. I guess is my message today, is that you're not alone. We all deal with something. Whether I walk around with a t-shirt that tells you I'm dealing with it or not, we do. Thank you, Jared, for that. Yes. The mental health crisis, it affects the whole family. I am one that not only battles with my own stuff, but I live with someone that suffers from depression and stuff, and depression, and PTSD, which is real. I know a lot of people think it's a made up word, but post traumatic disorder really is real. And it's not just for military. It's not just, it's for anybody that's had a traumatic experience in their life. And it can be multiple things that cause you to have PTSD. So there are just a lot of things out there. And I challenge each of us to go out there and learn more about mental health. That's how we're aware. That's how we help. Listen, if you are a pastor or minister, yes, pray for your congregation. Pray for your those that come into your ministry. Pray for them for sure, because God is a healer. But also advise them wisely. If you see signs that they need to speak to someone, if they are coming to you and they're like, I'm not taking my meds anymore, let's get them back on the medication or the prescriptions that they've been given, because they could be an imbalance. And unless you've had a long drawn out conversation with their doctor, then you could be doing more harm than good by telling people to not take their medications, by telling people that it'll pass, that you'll be okay. Yes, God does heal and deliver, but he does it in different ways. And so we can be more harmful, believers, than helpful when we tell people that what they're going through doesn't exist, because it does. Low self-esteem is real and it exists, and it causes people to do ungodly things to their body because they feel like they don't look as beautiful as they really are. And so it's real. It's real. And so I hope that this time has been helpful. And again, if you're going through grief, if you're dealing with PTSD, if you're dealing with depression, and there are many forms of it. I get depressed. I've spoken to someone and they went down the checklist, and yes, I fight and deal with depression as well. I'm not ashamed because I'm human, I'm flesh. But I'm saying all this not for sympathy or anything, but I'm saying this because if you're that person, get what you need. Talk to somebody if that's what you need to do. Maybe for whatever reason you don't want to talk to a counselor or whatever. If you can, and then find an ear that'll listen, especially if you're feeling in a desperate moment where you could harm yourself. Talk to somebody. Listen, whoever it is that's listening that doesn't feel valued, let me help you. You are valued. You're important. You're important to your loved ones. You're important in this world. You have a place in this world. So value your life, and get help, get what you need. Self-care is real. Okay. And it goes beyond getting your nails done, getting your hair done. Self-care could be going to talk to somebody so that you can be okay in this moment, in this time. Maybe this morning you woke up and your grief hit you like it's never hit you before. Because listen, there are parents that have lost their children out there, and I'm sure they have questions of why. There are spouses that have lost their wives, lost their husbands lost their wives. There are children that have lost their parents. And I was a grown child when I lost my parent. There are young children who have lost their parents in what appears to be senseless reasons, like violence and war and things like that. So you never know what somebody's going through. And lastly, before I close, if you are one that is listening and you are having a moment today, maybe you're just struggling to make it through your day. Listen, pick up the phone and call somebody. You don't have to suffer alone. And I get it. Sometimes it'll be okay. I'll get through this. I've been here before. I'll snap out of it. I'll go watch a movie, or I'll do something to shake this off. Listen, mental health is not always something you can shake off. So call somebody. And if you need some counselors, some names of counselors, I'll be happy to give you some. Um, I have some that float through my Facebook page that I've met or know of, or know people that know them that use them. I have friends that are counselors. And so, feel free to tap in and message me, or if you want to put it in here. I think my husband as well is on, and so he can advise as well. Listen, if you are a man or a woman who has served their country, has served this country, if you are in the military, there is help for you, and it shouldn't cost you anything that I'm aware of. Go to your local VA and let them know that you need to speak to someone and that you served your country. Get what you need, get the help you need, and be unapologetic about it. Listen, I am not apologizing because I have to deal with this thing. I am not apologizing because I need to talk to someone. I'm not apologizing because I don't always feel my best. I'm not apologizing because I'm not perfect. Listen, I am who I am. And I'm going to love me to the best of my ability. And I'm going to get what I need. And I'm not going to say I'm sorry for doing that. Neither should you. Get what you need. Take care of you, because you cannot take care of anybody else if you're broken yourself. Okay. So if you're broken, if you need something, if you're dysfunctional in this moment, you really can't help anybody. And sometimes we're helping people to try to forget about what it is we're going through, to try to move it out of our path. And somehow we think it's going to magically disappear. But let me help you understand, when you're done helping, that thing, that elephant, that weight is still there. Okay. So listen, I love you. And I thank you so much for following me, for listening to me, for talking with me. I've been arranging some more great interviews. In fact, I was supposed to have one today, but due to a lot of misscheduling going on, I couldn't get it in today. But we got a lot of great conversations coming up. I'm working men on getting some more men to talk to, because you need to be empowered as well. You have a role in this world. And so we want to make sure we empower you in the things that you're going to achieve. So I'm working on that as well. Maybe I'll give me a group of men and we'll all just sit down and talk. I'll be the one woman in the room. But whatever we're going to do, we're going to make sure that I keep coming to you with things that will empower you, that will dialogue, that'll inspire you, and networking that'll help you through your journey. And so we're on this journey together. So thank you so much for journeying, if that's a word, with me today. And again, if you need to talk to somebody, please talk to somebody. And if nobody's told you today, I love you. I know I don't know you, but God has given me love in my heart to love everybody. And so I love you and I do care about you. It is important that you get the help that you need. It is important that you survive in this world. And it's important that you achieve the things that you are aspiring to do. And the way you're going to do that is take care of this mind. Okay. So with that being said, the only other thing I do is invite you ladies, if you have not registered, we do have our Women's Empowerment 2024 coming around the corner here. Registration is open. There are different levels and ways to register. You can register on our website, faithzoneministries.org. You can register simply, there's a link out there in social media land. But I would say, honestly, the quickest way is just go on the website. If you scroll down just a tad, you'll see a bunch of information around what our empowerment weekend is about, what's going to take place. Look, we have some amazing speakers, amazing worship. I'm just really, really excited about what God is doing in this year. And so again, I do invite you, please don't unfollow me because I'm getting ready to flood social media for the next several weeks. But don't unfollow me, please. Don't hide me. It won't last for just a second, but I do this, and I do it aggressively, and I do it unapologetically, because I believe every woman that comes to this empowerment weekend is going to walk away with whatever it is they need to complete their journey. Okay. So again, thank you so much. And thank you, Jared, for your amazing conversation here in the chat. Really, really appreciate you. We will be praying for both you, your wife, and those children. And I love your sensitivity to the subject, because we all need to be aware and we all need to be sensitive and understand that mental health has no age, it has no color, it has no culture. it doesn't care. Okay, so we were all just going through this life doing the best that we can, and I think and I believe, and my prayer and my wish is that we would love one another so much more than we do, because we all need it. We're all struggling. We're all going through, and we're all trying to make it day by day. And so I love you. Have an amazing day. Listen, take it one day at a time. If you don't worry about tomorrow, it's not here yet. And don't worry about yesterday, it's already gone. So let's just deal with today, okay? I love you. Have an amazing weekend. It's a beautiful weekend. Enjoy it. Enjoy the sunshine. And we'll talk again next week. Bye.